The moment I saw my wife's face light up when Nathan's father walked into the gym, I knew my marriage was over. Not because of the smile itself. Nina had smiled at men before. It was the way she tucked her hair behind her ear afterward, the same gesture she'd made 20 years ago when I first asked her to dance, the same one she'd stopped making for me. "Dad, this is Eric Cole," Zoe said, practically bouncing. "Nathan's dad. He played for state back in the day." Eric extended his hand, 6'3", graying temples, still built like the linebacker he'd been. "Luke, right? Zoe talks about you all the time." I shook his hand, firm grip, too firm. "All good things, I hope." "Oh, definitely. She says you're handy with tools." The way he said it made me want to kick him. But I'd learned long ago that men like Eric Cole didn't get kicked. They got elected to school boards and coached youth sports and sold insurance with their championship rings catching office fluorescents. Men like me built their houses. "Tyler, come meet Mr. Cole," Nina called to our 16-year-old son, who was sitting in the bleachers with his headphones on. Tyler looked up, nodded once, and went back to his phone. Smart kid. He'd inherited my ability to read a room. The football game was torture. Not because the home team was losing, but because I had to watch my wife perform. She laughed too loud at Eric's jokes. She touched his arm when she talked. She kept finding excuses to lean close to him, like she couldn't hear over the crowd noise. "Nina's always been a football fan," I told Nathan during halftime, testing the water. "Really? Dad says she seems to know a lot about the game," Dad says, present tense, which meant they'd been talking. After the game, the four of us walked toward the parking lot. Eric fell into step beside Nina, their shoulders almost touching. Zoe was chattering about some party next weekend. I wasn't listening. I was watching my wife's reflection in the car windows as we passed. She was watching Eric. "We should all grab dinner sometime," Eric said as we reached our cars. "I know a great place downtown." "That sounds wonderful," Nina replied before I could answer. I looked at her. Really looked. She was wearing the blue dress I'd bought her for our anniversary. The one she'd claimed was too fancy for this town. She'd curled her hair, put on the perfume I'd given her for Christmas. The perfume she'd stopped wearing months ago. "Sure," I said. "I'll check my schedule." But I already knew I wouldn't be checking anything. I'd be watching. The drive home was quiet. Tyler had his headphones back on. Zoe was texting someone, probably Nathan. Nina stared out the passenger window, humming softly. Some song I didn't recognize. "Eric seems nice," I said. "Mm-hmm. Good-looking guy." I hadn't noticed. The lie sat between us like a third passenger. I could feel it breathing. At home, Nina went straight to the shower. She took longer than usual, used the expensive soap she saved for special occasions. When she came out, she was wearing the silk nightgown I'd bought her for Valentine's Day, the one that had been hanging in our closet unworn for 3 months. "I'm tired," she said, climbing into bed. "It's only 9:30. Long day." She turned away from me toward the wall. I lay there listening to her breathe, counting the minutes until she fell asleep. When her breathing finally deepened, I slipped out of bed and went to the kitchen. Her phone was on the counter. The screen lit up when I picked it up. A text message from Book Club Sarah. "Had so much fun tonight. Can't wait to do it again." I checked the timestamp, 11:47 p.m. Nina had been home since 8:30. I scrolled up. More messages from Book Club Sarah. Messages sent during work hours when Nina was supposedly at the office. Messages with heart emojis and winking faces. Messages that no Sarah from any book club would ever send. "You looked incredible tonight. Can't stop thinking about you. When can I see you again?" I memorized the phone number, then put the phone back exactly where I'd found it. My hands weren't shaking. That surprised me. I'd expected them to shake. The next morning, Nina was different. Cheerful. She made coffee without being asked. She kissed my cheek before leaving for work. "I'll be late tonight," she said. "Book club. Which book are you reading?" She paused at the door. "Oh, we're discussing several options. You know how it is?" I knew exactly how it was. After she left, I called my boss and told him I was taking a sick day. Then I drove to the phone store and bought a burner phone. I called the number from Nina's messages. "Hello?" A man's voice. Deep. Familiar. I hung up. "Eric Cole. Book club." Sarah was Eric Cole. I sat in my truck outside the phone store for 20 minutes, engine running, heat blasting, The steering wheel was cold under my hands. Everything was cold. 22 years of marriage, 2 kids, a house we'd built together, literally. I'd framed every wall, laid every floor, installed every fixture. Nina had picked out the colors, the furniture, the artwork. We'd made it beautiful. And she was burning it down for a man who'd peaked in college. That night, I waited up for her. She came home at 11:15, reeking of cologne that wasn't mine. "How was book club?" I asked. "Fine." She didn't look at me. We had a good discussion. "About what?" "Just books. You wouldn't be interested." She was right. I wouldn't be interested in whatever fiction she was spinning, but I was very interested in the truth. The next evening, I followed her. She drove to the Marriott downtown, parked in the back lot, and walked through the lobby like she owned it. I waited 15 minutes, then went inside. The bar was dimly lit, full of business travelers and locals pretending to be business travelers. Nina was sitting in a corner booth, laughing at something Eric Cole was saying. He was wearing a suit. She was wearing the black dress I'd never seen before. They looked like they belonged together, like they'd been together for years. I ordered a beer and sat at the bar, watching them in the mirror behind the bottles. Eric reached across the table and took her hand. She didn't pull away. She leaned forward, said something that made him smile. He brought her hand to his lips and kissed her knuckles. My wife. My wife of 22 years, letting another man kiss her hand in public. I left my beer untouched and walked back to my truck. My phone was buzzing, a text from Nina. "Running late. Book club is going long, don't wait up." I drove home and sat in my kitchen, staring at the message. The kitchen where we'd had our first fight as newlyweds, where we'd fed our babies at 3 in the morning, where we'd planned our retirement over Sunday breakfast just last month. She was destroying all of it for a man who'd probably forgotten her name by morning. But I wouldn't forget. I wouldn't forget any of it. The next morning, I installed a security system. Cameras in every room except the bedrooms and bathrooms. Motion sensors on all the doors. I told Nina it was for protection against break-ins. "Since when do we need security cameras?" she asked. "Since crime started going up." I showed her the statistics I'd printed out. 3 break-ins in the neighborhood this month? She seemed satisfied. She'd always trusted me to handle the practical things. Within a week, the cameras had captured everything I needed. Nina leaving for work at 8:30 and returning at 9:15. Nina claiming she was grocery shopping while she was actually at the gym where Eric worked. Nina on the phone in our backyard at midnight, laughing and whispering like a teenager. I saved it all to an external drive. Evidence, insurance, ammunition. On Friday night, Zoe brought Nathan over for dinner. Nina made her famous lasagna, the one she'd learned from her mother. She wore the yellow sundress that had always been my favorite. She was trying to be the perfect wife and mother, playing house while her real life was parked in a hotel room downtown. "Nathan, tell your father we said hello," Nina said as the boys were leaving. "I will, Mrs. Grant. He mentioned you guys should all get together soon." "We'd love that," Nina replied. "Wouldn't we, Luke?" I looked at my wife. At her bright smile and sparkling eyes. At the wedding ring she was still wearing, the one I'd saved for 3 months to buy. At the woman who'd promised to love me in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer till death do us part. "Sure," I said. "We'd love that." Nathan left. Zoe went upstairs to call her friends. Tyler disappeared into his room. Nina started cleaning the kitchen, humming that song again, the one I still didn't recognize. "What's that song?" I asked. She stopped humming. "What song?" "The one you're always humming. I don't know it." "I don't know what you're talking about." Another lie. They were coming easier now. She was getting better at it. I helped her load the dishwasher. We worked in silence, passing plates and glasses without touching. When we finished, she kissed my cheek and went upstairs. I heard the shower running, the hairdryer, the perfume bottle clinking against the bathroom counter. She was getting ready for him. "I'm going to meet Sarah for coffee," she called from the bedroom. "Book club, Sarah?" "Yes, we're planning next month's selection." I waited until I heard her car pulling out of the driveway, then went to my computer. I pulled up the security footage from that afternoon. Nina, home from work, standing in our bedroom, trying on different outfits, discarding them, settling on the red dress she'd worn to our anniversary dinner last year. The dress she'd worn the night she'd told me she felt like the luckiest woman alive. I watched her spray perfume on her wrists, behind her ears, between her bosoms. I watched her check herself in the mirror from every angle. I watched her practice her smile, Then I watched her leave to meet another man. I sat there for a long time, staring at the empty screen. The house was quiet. Tyler was at a friend's house. Zoe was probably asleep. I was alone with the truth I'd been avoiding for weeks. My marriage was over, had been over for months, maybe years. I'd just been too stupid, too trusting, too in love to see it. But I could see it now, and I could do something about it. I opened my laptop and started typing. An email to the best divorce attorney in town, another to a private investigator, a third to my accountant, asking him to review our financial records. Nina wanted to play games. Fine. I'd been playing by the rules for 22 years. Maybe it was time to learn a new game. When she came home that night, I was waiting in the kitchen. She looked surprised to see me. "You're up late," she said. "Couldn't sleep." "How was coffee?" "Good. Sarah's excited about next month's book." "Which book?" She paused. It's a surprise. She wants to keep it secret until our next meeting." "Sounds mysterious." "Not really. Just fun." She was struggling now. The lies were getting harder to keep straight. I could see the calculation in her eyes, the mental gymnastics required to maintain her fiction. "I'm going to bed," she said. "I'll be up in a minute." She kissed the top of my head, a gesture so familiar and false it made my chest ache. I listened to her footsteps on the stairs, the bedroom door closing, the springs creaking as she got into bed. Our bed. The bed where we'd made love for the first time as husband and wife. Where we'd conceived our children. Where we'd held each other through sick nights and worried conversations and quiet Sunday mornings. Where she now lay, planning her next lie. I pulled out my phone and opened the contact for the private investigator. His name was James Morrison. He specialized in infidelity cases. "Need to meet ASAP," I typed. "Discretion essential." His response came within minutes. "Monday, 8 a.m., my office." Retainer required. I put the phone away and went upstairs. Nina was pretending to sleep, but I could tell she was awake. Her breathing was too controlled, too careful. I got into bed and lay there in the dark, listening to the sound of 22 years ending. Monday morning, I met with Morrison. He was younger than I'd expected, with prematurely gray hair and the kind of expensive suit that screamed competence. His office was downtown, 3 blocks from the Marriott where my wife met her lover. "Tell me about your situation," he said. I told him everything. The text messages, the late nights, the security footage, the phone calls to Eric Cole. Morrison took notes, asking questions that cut straight to the heart of the matter. "How do you want to proceed?" he asked. "I want documentation, photos, video if possible. I want her to have no room to deny anything. And then I want to destroy her." Morrison looked up from his notes. "Divorce proceedings can be contentious, but I don't want contentious. I want total victory. I want her to regret every lie she's told me, every night she's spent with him, every moment she's chosen him over her family." "That's understandable, but—" "You don't understand." I leaned forward. "This woman has been lying to me for months. She's been lying to our children. She's been destroying our family while pretending to be the perfect wife and mother. She's made me look like a fool in front of our friends, our neighbors, our community." Morrison was quiet for a moment. "What do you want to happen to her?" "I want her to lose everything. Her reputation, her comfort, her security, her future. I want her to understand that actions have consequences." "And your children?" "Tyler will be fine. He's smart enough to see through her lies." "Zoe," I paused. "Zoe will figure it out eventually. She's young. She thinks her mother hung the moon. But she'll learn." Morrison nodded. "I'll need a retainer, 5,000. I wrote him a check. "How long will this take?" "A few weeks, maybe less if they're as careless as you say." They were careless. Morrison called me 3 days later. "I've got what you need," he said. "Photos, video, hotel receipts." "She's not even trying to hide it anymore." "Send me everything." The package arrived the next morning. 43 photographs, a USB drive with hours of video, credit card statements showing charges at expensive restaurants, hotels, lingerie stores. A timeline of the affair that went back 4 months. 4 months. While I was working 60-hour weeks to pay for Zoe's college tuition and Nina's spa treatments and the family vacation to Florida, She was shopping for lingerie to wear for another man. I studied every photo. Nina and Eric kissing in the hotel parking lot. Nina and Eric holding hands at a restaurant I couldn't afford. Nina and Eric laughing at some private joke while I was home helping Tyler with his homework. The last photo was the worst. Nina, wearing the wedding ring I'd given her, unbuttoning Eric's shirt in what was clearly a hotel room. Her face was turned toward the camera, eyes closed, lips parted. She looked blissful, transported. She'd never looked at me that way. Not once in 22 years. I put the photos in a manila envelope and locked them in my safe. Then I called my attorney, David Brennan. He'd handled my father's estate and my business incorporation. He was honest, thorough, and ruthless when necessary. I need to file for divorce, I told him. I'm sorry to hear that, Luke. What are the grounds? Infidelity? I have documentation. Good. That'll make things easier. Do you want to try mediation first? No, I want to go straight to court. I want alimony terminated. I want full custody of Tyler. I want the house. I want everything. That's ambitious. Are you sure you don't want to try to work things out? David, my wife has been screwing another man for 4 months. She's been lying to my face every single day. She's been spending our money on hotel rooms and fancy dinners while I've been working myself to passing to provide for this family. Working things out is no longer an option. Understood. I'll file the papers this afternoon. Good. And David? I want to serve her publicly as possible. That's not usually advisable. I don't care what's advisable. I care about justice. The papers were served the next Friday night at the football game. Nina was sitting in the bleachers with Eric, cheering for Nathan's team. The sheriff's deputy found her during halftime. Mrs. Grant, you're being served with divorce papers. The entire section went quiet. Nina's face went white. Eric looked confused. Zoe, who was sitting with her friends a few rows down, turned around to see what was happening. This is a mistake, Nina said loudly. There must be some mistake. No mistake, ma'am. You need to sign here. Nina's hands were shaking as she signed the papers. She looked around the bleachers at all the faces staring at her, at Eric, who was already scooting away from her, at Zoe, who was walking toward them with homicide in her eyes. Dad, what the hell is happening? Zoe demanded. Ask your mother, I said. I was standing at the bottom of the bleachers, watching the show. I'd waited until the busiest game of the season. The whole town was here. The whole town was watching. Luke, please, Nina said. Can we talk about this at home? We're done talking at home. We're done talking, period. But I don't understand. Why are you doing this? Because I know about Eric. The words hit her like a physical blow. She actually staggered backward, nearly falling off the bleacher. Eric was staring at me now, his face a mask of panic. I don't know what you're talking about, Nina said. Book Club Sarah, remember? 4 months of book club meetings. Except Sarah's a 45-year-old man who peaked in college and preys on married women. Dad, you're being crazy, Zoe said. Mom would never. Your mother has been having an affair for 4 months, Zoe. I have photos, I have video, I have hotel receipts, I have everything. The crowd was murmuring now. Phones were coming out, people were recording. By tomorrow, the whole town would know that Nina Grant had been cheating on her husband with Eric Cole. This is insane, Eric said, standing up. I don't know what you think you know, but I know you've been screwing my wife. I stepped closer to him. I know you've been taking her to the Marriott every Tuesday and Thursday. I know you bought her a necklace at Brennan's Jewelry. I know you've been telling her that her husband is boring and that she deserves better. Eric's face went red. You're out of line. Am I? Then explain this. I pulled out my phone and showed him one of the photos. Eric and Nina kissing in the hotel parking lot. His hands on her her leg wrapped around his waist. Oh my God, Zoe whispered. Mom, is this true? Nina was crying now, big ugly tears that ruined her makeup. I can explain. It's not what it looks like. It looks like you're cheating on your husband, I said. It looks like you're destroying your family for a man who's probably already planning to dump you. That's not true, Nina screamed. Eric loves me. The crowd went dead silent. Even the players on the field had stopped warming up. Everyone was staring at us. Eric looked around at all the faces, at all the phones recording his humiliation. Then he looked at Nina. I think there's been a misunderstanding, he said quietly. What? Nina's voice was small, confused. I think you might have misinterpreted our friendship. Friendship? Nina stood up shakily. Eric, what are you talking about? We've been together for months. You said you loved me. You said you wanted to be with me. I never said that. Yes, you did. You said I was the most beautiful woman you'd ever seen. You said I deserved better than Luke. You said, I think you're confused. We're friends. That's all we've ever been. I watched my wife's face crumble, watched her realize that she'd given up everything for a man who wouldn't even admit their relationship existed. A man who was throwing her away in front of the entire town to save his own reputation. You fool, she whispered. I'm sorry you feel that way, Eric said. But I think it's best if we don't see each other anymore. He walked away, just like that. Left her standing there, broken and abandoned, while hundreds of people watched. Mom? Zoe's voice was barely audible. Nina turned to her daughter. Zoe, I can explain. You cheated on Dad. It's complicated. You don't understand. Your father and I have been having problems for years. He's cold. He doesn't appreciate me. He takes me for granted. Eric made me feel alive again. He made me feel beautiful. So you decided to destroy our family? I wasn't trying to destroy anything. I was trying to be happy. By lying to us? By sneaking around? By humiliating Dad in front of the whole town? Nina looked at me, her eyes pleading. Luke, please, we can work this out. We can go to counseling. We can fix this. No, I said, we can't. Please, I'll end it with Eric. I'll do anything you want. Just please don't do this. You already did this. 4 months ago, when you decided that your marriage vows meant nothing. When you decided that your family meant nothing. When you decided that I meant nothing. That's not true. I love you. You have a funny way of showing it. The crowd was dispersing now. The game was starting again. People were moving back to their seats, but they kept looking over their shoulders at us. The story would spread faster than wildfire. Come on, Zoe, I said. Let's go home. I'm not going anywhere with you, Zoe said. This is all your fault. My fault? You drove her to this. You're cold and boring, and you never pay attention to her. Of course, she found someone else. Your mother is an adult who made her own choices. She made those choices because you're a terrible husband. I looked at my 18-year-old daughter, at the contempt in her eyes, at the way she was positioning herself between me and Nina, choosing sides, choosing the wrong side. Fine, I said. Stay with your mother. See how that works out for you. I walked away from them, away from the wreckage of my marriage, away from the family I'd spent 22 years building. Tyler was waiting by my truck. He'd been there the whole time, watching silently. You okay? He asked. No, but I will be. Mom really cheated? Yeah, she really did. I'm sorry, Dad. It's not your fault, son. None of this is your fault. We drove home in silence. The house felt different now, empty, like Nina had already moved out, even though her things were still everywhere. What happens now? Tyler asked. Now we start over. Are you going to be okay? I'm going to be better than okay. I'm going to be free. That night, I sat in my kitchen, drinking a beer and thinking about the future. Nina's perfume still lingered in the air. Her coffee cup was still in the sink. Her reading glasses were still on the counter. But she was gone. Really gone. My phone buzzed. A text from Nina. I'm staying at my sister's tonight. We need to talk. I deleted the message without responding. Another text. Please don't do this. We can work it out. Deleted. Another. I love you. I've always loved you. Deleted. The messages kept coming. Apologies, explanations, bargaining, threats. I deleted them all. Around midnight, she called. I let it go to voicemail. Luke, please pick up. I know you're there. I know you're angry, but we need to talk. I can explain everything. Eric doesn't mean anything to me. You're the one I love. You're the one I married. Please don't throw away 22 years over a stupid mistake. I saved the voicemail, not because I believed her, but because I wanted to remember what desperation sounded like. The next morning, I changed the locks. I also changed the alarm code, closed our joint bank accounts, and transferred all the money to accounts she couldn't access. I canceled her credit cards. I removed her from my health insurance. I did everything my lawyer had advised me to do. By noon, she was banging on the front door. Luke, open this door. You can't lock me out of my own house. I opened the door but kept the chain on. This isn't your house anymore. What do you mean? Read the divorce papers. I'm seeking full ownership of the marital residence. You can't do that. I can do whatever I want. You're the one who cheated. You're the one who broke our marriage contract. You're the one who's going to pay for it. This is insane. You're being vindictive. I'm being practical. You want to be with Eric? Go be with Eric, but you're not doing it on my dime. Eric and I are over. I told you that. Right. Because he threw you away like garbage in front of the whole town. She flinched. That's not what happened. That's exactly what happened. He used you for sex and then discarded you when it became inconvenient. And now you want to come crawling back to me. I don't want to come crawling back. I want to fix our marriage. Our marriage is over. It's been over since the day you decided to screw another man. Don't say that. Why not? It's the truth. You screwed Eric Cole multiple times, in multiple positions, in multiple locations. You gave him things you never gave me. You did things for him you never did for me. Stop it. You wore lingerie for him. You sent him pictures without clothes. You told him you loved him. You made him feel like the most important man in the world while you made me feel like nothing. That's not true. It's all true. I have the photos to prove it. She was crying again. I made a mistake. One mistake. It doesn't have to end our marriage. It wasn't one mistake. It was hundreds of mistakes. Every lie you told me, every time you chose him over me. Every time you came home and pretended to be my loving wife while you were planning your next meeting with him. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. What do you want from me? I want you to disappear. I want you to take your things and leave and never come back. I want you to let me have custody of Tyler. I want you to sign whatever papers my lawyer puts in front of you. And if I don't, then I'll make sure everyone in this town knows exactly what kind of woman you are. I'll show them the photos. I'll play them the voicemails. I'll make you famous. You wouldn't do that. Try me. She stared at me through the crack in the door. Her makeup was smeared. Her hair was a mess. She looked nothing like the woman who'd captivated Eric Cole. I need my things, she said finally. Make a list. I'll pack them for you. I want to pack them myself. No, you don't get to come back into this house. You don't get to touch anything that belongs to me. Half of everything in there belongs to me. Not anymore. You forfeited your rights when you committed infidelity. That's not how divorce works. We'll see. I closed the door. She banged on it for another 10 minutes, then gave up. I watched through the security cameras as she sat in her car, crying into her phone, probably calling Eric, probably begging him to take her back. Good luck with that. Over the next week, I packed her things, clothes, shoes, makeup, books. I was methodical about it. I put everything in boxes and labeled them. I even included things I thought she might want. Photos of her family, jewelry I'd given her, the stuffed animal she'd had since childhood. I didn't include her wedding ring. She'd left it on the nightstand the night of the football game, and I'd thrown it in the trash. When I was done, I had the boxes delivered to her sister's house. I also had my lawyer send her a settlement offer. She could have her car, her personal possessions, and nothing else. No alimony, no claim on the house, no custody rights beyond supervised visitation. She rejected the offer. That's when I got serious. I hired a forensic accountant to go through our financial records. I wanted to know exactly how much money she'd spent on her affair. Hotel rooms, dinners, lingerie, gifts for Eric, it all added up. $12,000. That's what she'd spent on her affair over 4 months. $12,000 of our money. Money I'd earned working 60-hour weeks. I also hired a computer specialist to recover deleted files from her laptop. Emails, photos, chat logs, everything she thought she'd hidden. The emails were the most damning. Nina hadn't just cheated on me. She'd been planning to leave me. She'd been looking at apartments. She'd been consulting with her own lawyer. She'd been trying to figure out how to take me for everything I was worth. In one email to Eric, she'd written, "Luke is so clueless. He has no idea what's coming. By the time I'm done with him, he'll be lucky to keep his truck." In another, "I can't wait to be free of him. He's dragged me down for 20 years. I deserve so much better. And my personal favorite, Zoe agrees that I should leave him. She says I deserve to be happy. She promises she'll choose me over him if it comes to that. So my daughter had known. She'd known about the affair, and she'd encouraged it. She'd helped her mother plan my destruction. I printed out every email and gave them to my lawyer. This changes everything, he said. She was planning to commit divorce fraud. She was going to hide assets and lie to the court. This is criminal behavior. What does it mean for the case? It means we can go after her for everything: the house, the cars, the retirement accounts. She'll be lucky to get visitation rights. And Zoe? Zoe is 18. She can choose where she wants to live, but given her role in this, I doubt any judge will take her preferences seriously. Good. The trial was set for 2 months later. In the meantime, I focused on rebuilding my life. I started going to the gym again. I updated my wardrobe. I reconnected with old friends. I even went on a few dates. I also started documenting everything Nina and Zoe did. Every time they tried to contact me, every time they showed up at my house, every time they tried to turn people against me. The town was divided. Half the people supported me. They'd seen what Nina had done and they were disgusted. The other half blamed me. They said I must have driven her to cheat. They said I was being too harsh. They said I should forgive her. I didn't care what they thought. I cared about justice. A week before the trial, Nina called me. Luke, please, let's settle this. I'll take whatever you're offering. Too late. You had your chance. I'm begging you. Please don't destroy me. You destroyed yourself. What about Zoe? She's caught in the middle of this. Zoe made her choice. She chose you over me. She chose to help you plan my destruction. Now she gets to live with the consequences. She's just a kid. She's 18. She's an adult. And she's a liar and a manipulator, just like her mother. Don't say that about her. It's true. I have the emails to prove it. Please, Luke. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know I hurt you. I know I betrayed you, but please don't take it out on Zoe. I'm not taking anything out on anyone. I'm just making sure the truth comes out. The truth will destroy her. Maybe. But lies already destroyed our family. The trial lasted 3 days. Nina's lawyer tried to paint me as a controlling, emotionally abusive husband who had driven his wife to seek comfort elsewhere. But my lawyer had the emails. He had the photos. He had the financial records. He had everything. Nina took the stand on the second day. She was wearing a conservative blue dress, her hair pulled back in a modest bun. She looked like a Sunday school teacher, not an adulteress. I made a mistake, she said, dabbing her eyes with a tissue. I was lonely and confused. My husband worked all the time. He never paid attention to me. He never made me feel special. I was vulnerable, and Eric took advantage of that. My lawyer stood up for cross-examination. Mrs. Grant, you testified that you were lonely and confused. But isn't it true that you were planning to leave your husband regardless of your affair? No, that's not true. I'd like to enter into evidence Exhibit A47. This is an email you sent to Eric Cole on March 15th. Would you read the highlighted portion for the court? Nina's face went pale. I don't remember this email. Please read it. Nina's voice was barely a whisper. I can't wait to be free of him. He's dragged me down for 20 years. I deserve so much better. And Exhibit A48, dated March 22nd? Luke is so clueless. He has no idea what's coming. By the time I'm done with him, he'll be lucky to keep his truck. And Exhibit A52, dated April 3rd? I can't. The court reporter will read it. I've been looking at apartments downtown. Found a perfect 2-bedroom near the river. Eric says he'll help me move. Can't wait to start my new life without Luke dragging me down. The courtroom was dead silent. Nina was crying openly now, her careful makeup ruined. Mrs. Grant, does this sound like someone who was confused and made a mistake? Or does this sound like someone who was systematically planning to destroy her marriage? I was angry. I didn't mean those things. You didn't mean them when you wrote them, or you don't mean them now that you've been caught. Objection, Nina's lawyer said. I'll rephrase. Mrs. Grant, you also testified that your daughter had no knowledge of your affair. Is that correct? Yes. I'd like to enter Exhibit A63. This is an email from your daughter Zoe to Eric Cole, dated April 10th. Would you like to read it, or shall I? Nina was shaking now. I'll read it. Mom told me about you too. I think it's great that she's finally found someone who appreciates her. Dad is such a loser. He doesn't deserve her. I can't wait for her to leave him. The judge leaned forward. Mrs. Grant, are you telling this court that your 18-year-old daughter was actively encouraging your infidelity? She was just trying to support me. By calling her father a loser? By encouraging you to destroy your marriage? She didn't understand. She understood perfectly. She understood that you were planning to commit fraud against your husband. She understood that you were planning to take everything he'd worked for and leave him with nothing. My lawyer spent the next hour systematically destroying Nina's credibility. Every lie she'd told, every dollar she'd spent, every plan she'd made. By the time he was done, she looked like exactly what she was, a greedy, manipulative woman who'd been caught in the act. Zoe testified the next day. She was defiant, angry, completely unrepentant. My father is cold and distant, she said. He never showed my mother any affection. He worked all the time. He ignored her feelings. She deserved better. So you encouraged her to have an affair? I encouraged her to be happy. By lying to your father? By helping her deceive him? By helping her find someone who actually cared about her? And you saw nothing wrong with that? I saw a woman who was dying inside because her husband didn't love her. Your father worked 60 hours a week to provide for your family. He paid for your car, your college tuition, your mother's spa treatments. How does that show a lack of love? Money isn't love. No, but infidelity isn't love either. My mother wasn't having an affair. She was finding herself. She was finding herself in hotel rooms with another man. She was finding herself with someone who made her feel alive. And you saw nothing wrong with that? I saw everything wrong with a marriage that was already dead. Did you tell your father it was dead? He wouldn't have listened. Did you suggest marriage counseling? It wouldn't have helped. Did you encourage your parents to communicate better? Some people are just incompatible. So you decided to help your mother destroy your father instead. I helped my mother find happiness by encouraging her to commit infidelity, plan financial fraud, and systematically destroy the man who raised you, by encouraging her to stop settling for less than she deserved. My lawyer looked at her with disgust. No further questions. The judge rendered his decision the next morning. Nina got nothing. No alimony, no claim on the house, no share of the retirement accounts, supervised visitation with Tyler, if Tyler wanted it. The court finds that Mrs. Grant's conduct was not merely infidelity, but a systematic campaign of deception and fraud, the judge said. She planned to leave her husband while simultaneously attempting to steal his assets. This is not the behavior of someone who made a mistake. This is the behavior of someone who is fundamentally dishonest. Nina collapsed in her chair. Her lawyer put his arm around her. Zoe was crying in the back of the courtroom. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no victory, just emptiness. Outside the courthouse, Nina approached me. I hope you're happy, she said. I'm not happy. I'm just finished. You've destroyed everything, our marriage, our family, our children's future. I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped protecting you from the consequences of your actions. What am I supposed to do now? I have nothing. No money, no job, no home. You should have thought of that before you decided to cheat on your husband. I can't believe you're being so cruel. I'm not being cruel. I'm being just... What about Zoe? She's lost everything too. Zoe chose her side. She chose to help you destroy me. Now she gets to live with that choice. She's your daughter. She was my daughter. Now she's just a stranger who shares my DNA. You don't mean that. I mean every word. Zoe appeared beside her mother. I hate you, she said. I know. You've ruined everything. I've revealed everything. There's a difference. Mom made one mistake. Your mother made hundreds of mistakes, and you helped her make them. I was trying to help her be happy. You were trying to help her destroy me, and you succeeded. Our relationship is over. Fine, I don't need you anyway. Good. Because you're not getting me. I walked away from them, away from the courthouse, away from the wreckage of my marriage. away from the daughter who'd betrayed me as thoroughly as her mother had. Tyler was waiting by my truck. He'd watched the whole trial without saying a word. "You okay?" he asked. "I'm getting there. I'm sorry about Zoe. Zoe made her choice, just like your mother did." "I know, I thought she was better than that." "So did I. But people show you who they really are when they think no one is watching. What happens now? Now we build a new life. Just the two of us." "I'd like that." "Me too." We drove home in comfortable silence. The house felt different now. Lighter. Like a weight had been lifted. That night, I got a call from Eric Cole. "Luke, I think we need to talk." "I don't think we do. I want to apologize. For everything. I know I hurt you and your family. You didn't hurt me. You did me a favor." "What do you mean?" "You showed me who my wife really was. You showed me who my daughter really was. You helped me see that I was living a lie." "I never meant for any of this to happen." "Yes, you did. You meant for all of it to happen. You just didn't mean to get caught." "Nina really loved you, you know. She was just confused. Nina loved the idea of me, the security I provided, the lifestyle I gave her, the respectability I offered. But she never loved me." "That's not true." "It's completely true. If she'd loved me, she wouldn't have been able to do what she did. Love doesn't work that way." "She's devastated. She's lost everything." "Good. Maybe next time she'll think twice before betraying the people who love her." "She's talking about leaving town." "She should. There's nothing left for her here." "What about Zoe? What about her? She's your daughter. She needs you. She needed me when she was helping her mother plan my destruction. She didn't seem to care about that need then. She was just trying to help her mother. She was trying to help her mother destroy me." "There's a difference. You're being too harsh." "I'm being exactly as harsh as the situation requires. She's just a kid. She's an adult who made adult choices. Now she gets to live with adult consequences. You're going to regret this. The only thing I regret is not seeing the truth sooner." I hung up on him. Over the next few weeks, I heard through the grapevine that Nina had indeed left town. She'd moved to Atlanta to live with her cousin. She'd gotten a job as a receptionist at a law firm. She was starting over. Zoe had dropped out of college. She was working at a coffee shop downtown, living in a studio apartment above a pizza place. She'd cut her hair short and dyed it black. She looked angry all the time. I ran into her at the grocery store one evening. She was buying ramen noodles and generic cereal. "Dad," she said. "Zoe. How are you?" "I'm fine." "How are you?" "I'm surviving." "Good." We stood there for a moment, not knowing what to say. She looked tired, older, like she'd aged 10 years in the past 6 months. "I'm sorry," she said finally, "for everything. I know I hurt you." "Yes, you did. I was trying to help Mom. I thought she was unhappy. I thought you didn't love her anymore. I loved her until the day she betrayed me. And I loved you until the day you helped her do it. I know. I was wrong. I see that now." "Do you?" "Mom wasn't the sufferer I thought she was. She was selfish. She was manipulative. She used me to hurt you." "Yes, she did. And I let her. I wanted to believe that she was just trying to be happy. I wanted to believe that you were the problem, because it was easier than accepting that your mother was capable of evil. She's not evil, she's just weak. Weakness doesn't excuse cruelty." "I know, I'm sorry, Dad." "I'm so sorry. I know you are. Can you forgive me?" I looked at my daughter, at the girl I'd raised, the girl I'd taught to ride a bike and drive a car, the girl I'd walked to school on her first day of kindergarten, the girl I'd planned to walk down the aisle someday. "I don't know," I said honestly. "I don't know if I can. I understand." "Do you? Do you understand that trust once broken can never be fully repaired? Do you understand that there are some betrayals that can't be forgiven?" "I'm starting to." "Good, because I need you to understand that our relationship may never be the same. That I may never be able to look at you without remembering what you did. I know. And I need you to understand that if you want any chance of rebuilding our relationship, you're going to have to earn it. Every day. For the rest of your life. I'm willing to try. We'll see." I paid for my groceries and left her standing there. I didn't hug her. I didn't tell her I loved her. I didn't make any promises about the future. Because I wasn't sure there was a future for us. 6 months later, I was contacted by a lawyer in Atlanta. Nina wanted to modify the custody agreement. She wanted visitation rights with Tyler. Tell her no, I said. She's his mother. She has rights. She forfeited those rights when she tried to destroy his father. The court might not see it that way. Then we'll go back to court. I'll show them the emails again. I'll remind them of what she did. I'll make sure they understand exactly what kind of woman she is. That might be expensive. I don't care what it costs. She's not getting near my son. Tyler was 17 now, almost a man. He'd grown 3 inches in the past year and started lifting weights. He looked like me at that age, but with his mother's eyes. What do you want to do? I asked him. I don't want to see her, he said. I know she's my mother, but I don't want to see her. Are you sure? I'm sure. She hurt you. She hurt our family. She chose Eric over us. I can't forgive that. You might change your mind someday. Maybe, but not today. Okay, then we'll fight it. We fought it, and we won. Nina's request for visitation was denied. The judge said she had shown no remorse for her actions and posed a potential threat to Tyler's emotional well-being. I felt nothing when I heard the decision. No satisfaction, no victory, just emptiness. A year later, I started dating again. Her name was Sarah, and she was a widow with a teenage son. She was kind and honest and uncomplicated. She made me laugh. She made me feel like myself again. Tyler liked her. He liked her son. We started spending time together as a family, going to movies, having barbecues, taking weekend trips. It felt good. It felt normal. It felt like something I could build a life on. One evening, as we were cleaning up after dinner, Sarah asked me about my ex-wife. "Do you ever miss her?" she said. "No, I miss who I thought she was. But I don't miss her." "Do you think you'll ever be able to forgive her?" "I've already forgiven her. Forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you. It's about letting go of the anger so it doesn't poison your future." "But you wouldn't take her back?" "No, never. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean trusting again. It just means choosing not to carry the hate." "And Zoe?" "Zoe is different. She's my daughter. Part of me will always love her. But I don't know if I can trust her again. I don't know if I can have a relationship with someone who was willing to help destroy me. She was young. She was manipulated. She was 18. She was old enough to know right from wrong. She chose wrong. Maybe she'll prove herself to you. Maybe. We'll see." 3 months later, Zoe called me. "Dad, I'm getting married." "Congratulations. I wanted to invite you to the wedding." "I don't think that's a good idea." "Please. It would mean everything to me." "Who's the lucky guy?" "His name is David. He's a teacher. He's a good man. I'm glad you found someone. I want you to walk me down the aisle." "Zoe, please. I know I hurt you. I know I don't deserve it. But you're my father. You're the only father I've ever had. I need you there." "I don't know if I can do that." "I understand, but I had to ask. When's the wedding?" "Next month, the 15th. "I'll think about it. Thank you." That's all I can ask. I hung up the phone and sat there for a long time, thinking. Part of me wanted to go. Part of me wanted to walk my daughter down the aisle and give her away to a man who would hopefully treat her better than I'd been treated. But another part of me couldn't forget what she'd done. Couldn't forget the emails. Couldn't forget the betrayal. Couldn't forget the way she'd looked at me with contempt in that courtroom. I talked to Sarah about it. I talked to Tyler about it. I talked to my therapist about it. In the end, I decided not to go. I sent Zoe a card with a check for $500. I wished her well. I told her I hoped she'd be happy, but I didn't go to her wedding. 2 years later, Nina died in a car accident. She was driving home from work in Atlanta when a drunk driver ran a red light. She was eliminated instantly. Zoe called me, crying. "Dad, Mom's gone." "I know." "I heard. I don't know what to do. What do you need from me?" "I need you to help me plan the funeral. I need you to be there for me." "Zoe, please. I can't do this alone. Tyler won't even talk to me." "I have nobody else." "What about your husband?" "He's supportive, but he didn't know her. You did. You loved her once." I loved who I thought she was. But you loved her. That has to count for something. I flew to Atlanta for the funeral. It was small, just a few people from Nina's work, her cousin, Zoe, and her husband, me. I sat in the back row, watching people talk about a woman I'd thought I'd known. They talked about her kindness, her generosity, her sense of humor. They talked about the Nina I'd fallen in love with 25 years ago. But they didn't know about the other Nina, the one who'd lied and cheated and betrayed, the one who'd tried to destroy me, the one who'd turned my daughter against me. After the service, Zoe approached me. "Thank you for coming," she said. "You're welcome. I know it couldn't have been easy." No, it wasn't. "I found something in her apartment. I thought you might want it." She handed me a small box. Inside was my wedding ring, the one I'd thrown away after the divorce. "She kept it," Zoe said. "All these years, she kept it." I looked at the ring. It was tarnished now, scratched, but it was still there. "Why?" I asked. "I don't know. Maybe she regretted what she did. Maybe she never stopped loving you. Love doesn't work that way." "How does it work?" "If you love someone, you don't betray them. You don't lie to them. You don't try to destroy them." People make mistakes. Some mistakes are too big to forgive, even when the person is gone, especially then. I put the ring back in the box and handed it to her. "You keep it," I said. "I don't want it." "Dad, I have to go. Tyler's waiting for me." "Will I see you again?" "I don't know." "I love you." "I know." I walked away from her, away from the cemetery, away from the past. Tyler was waiting in the rental car. He was 20 now, a man. He'd grown into himself over the past few years. He was confident, strong, nothing like the quiet, observant boy he'd been. "How was it?" he asked. "Sad, but necessary. Do you feel any different?" "No, I feel the same." "She's been dead to me for years." "And Zoe?" "Zoe is still my daughter, but I don't know if that's enough anymore." "Maybe it doesn't have to be." "What do you mean?" "Maybe some relationships are meant to end. Maybe some people are meant to be strangers. That's a hard way to live. It's an honest way to live." We drove to the airport in silence. On the plane, Tyler fell asleep. I sat there, looking out the window, thinking about the past 5 years. I'd lost a wife, I'd lost a daughter. I'd lost the life I'd built over 22 years. But I'd gained something too. I'd gained the truth. I'd gained my self-respect. I'd gained the knowledge that I was strong enough to survive anything. And maybe that was enough. 6 months later, I married Sarah. It was a small ceremony, just Tyler and Sarah's son and a few close friends. No big reception, no white dress, no walking down the aisle. Just two people who'd been through hell and found each other on the other side. We bought a house together, a new house, one without memories of betrayal and lies, one where we could start fresh. Tyler graduated from high school and went to college. He majored in engineering, like his old man. He was smart, hardworking, honest, everything I'd tried to teach him. Sarah's son, Mark, was a good kid too, quiet, thoughtful. He reminded me of Tyler at that age. We became a family. Not the family I'd planned for, not the family I'd dreamed of, but a good family, an honest family, a family built on trust and respect and love. And that was enough. One evening, as I was grilling burgers in the backyard, my phone rang. It was Zoe. "Dad, I'm pregnant." "Congratulations. I wanted you to know, I wanted to ask, would you like to be a grandfather?" "I'm already a grandfather to someone who wants me to be. I mean to my baby." "I know what you mean. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be the person you raised me to be." "Are you?" "I think so. I hope so." "Good. I'm glad to hear that. I was hoping maybe we could start over. Maybe we could try to rebuild our relationship." "Some things can't be rebuilt, Zoe. Some things, once broken, stay broken. But we're family. Family isn't about blood. It's about loyalty. It's about trust. It's about being there for each other when it matters. I wasn't there for you." "No, you weren't. I was there for Mom instead. You were there for Mom while she was destroying me." "I know. I was wrong. I was stupid. I was selfish." "Yes, you were. Can you forgive me?" I already have. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean trusting again. It just means I'm not angry anymore. So, there's no chance for us? I don't know, maybe someday, but not today. I understand. Good. And Zoe? Yes? I hope you're a better mother than yours was. I will be. I promise. Don't make promises you can't keep. I won't. I hung up the phone and went back to grilling burgers. Sarah was setting the table. Tyler was home from college for the weekend. Mark was doing homework at the kitchen counter. This was my family now. This was my life. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't what I'd planned, but it was mine, and it was enough. That night, as I was getting ready for bed, I thought about the wedding ring in Nina's apartment. The one she'd kept all those years. The one that represented everything we'd lost. I thought about forgiveness, about justice, about the difference between the two. I thought about Zoe, about the grandchild I might never meet, about the relationships that couldn't be repaired. I thought about the man I'd been 5 years ago, the man who'd believed in forever, the man who'd trusted completely, the man who'd been betrayed completely. And I thought about the man I was now, harder, wiser, less trusting, but also free, free from lies, free from betrayal, free from the weight of other people's expectations, free to choose my own family, free to build my own life, free to love on my own terms. I turned off the light and lay down next to Sarah. She was already asleep, breathing softly. I put my arm around her and closed my eyes. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities, new choices. But tonight, I was at peace. I had survived the fire. I had risen from the ashes. I had built something new from the wreckage of something old. And I was enough. The end.